Hi, Geoff, please, here again, member of King's Church, with my thought for the day. And today I want to start with might sound like a bit of a riddle, but we'll unpack it as we go. So let's start. The decisions I make today about my yesterdays will determine the outcome of my tomorrows. Let me repeat that. The decisions I make today about my yesterdays will determine the outcome of my tomorrows. Now we all have a history. Some of it may be good, some of it may be not so good, some of it may be downright ugly. But the reality is that in so many ways, the things that have happened to us in our past, in our history, will affect how we live in the future, if you like, our destiny. We're all shaped by the influences and nurtured by the influences of our past, which may be good or may be that bad. Some influences may be people, some influences may be circumstances. For example, if you have trusted somebody and they have let you down, then you may find it difficult in the present to trust people. If you've been bitten by a dog, you may find that you currently have a fear of dogs, and this would be very understandable. Happens to us all. That leads me on to what I call the if only syndrome. I often hear people saying, if only this had happened, things would be different. If only this had not happened, things would be different. The problem is that, yes, it's a pity those things might have happened or a pity they didn't happen. But the reality of it is that things are not different. Things are as they are. And we cannot live in the unreality of what might have been. But we do have to live in the reality of what is. There's a wonderful story in the Bible about two sisters. I love this story. It's in John chapter 11, and the sisters' names are Mary and Martha, and they are the sisters of a friend of Jesus whose name was Lazarus. Now one day Lazarus became very ill, and so the sisters sent for Jesus to come and to heal Lazarus. After all, they had known about Jesus healing many people, multitudes of people. And so they thought that if they could get Jesus to his friend Lazarus, then Lazarus would be healed. Now here is the rub. Jesus received the message, but he waited for 3 days before he ever went to see his friend. And by the time that he got to Bethany, where Lazarus lived, Lazarus had died. And as he approached Bethany, as he approached the place where Lazarus lay, one of the sisters, Martha, came running out to him and said, Jesus, my brother is dead. If only you had been here, he would not have died. And here was a great if only. Jesus, you have disappointed me. Jesus, you have not met my requirements. Jesus, I thought you would do better. And shortly after that, before he travelled much further, the other sister, Mary, came out and said exactly the same thing. In verse 32 of that passage, we read, when Mary reached the place where Jesus was and saw him, she fell at his feet and said, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. You see, their expectation of Jesus was based upon their experience and their understanding of who he was. But Jesus was more than a healer. That day he would reveal himself as the resurrection and the life. And I have found in my walk with Jesus that he always exceeds my expectations, and he always exceeds my understanding of him. After all, he is the creator, the sustainer of the universe, the Almighty God. And the story continues about these sisters. They took Jesus to the tomb. And when they got there, Jesus said to the sisters, remove the stone, remove the blockage, let me at the situation. And the sisters protested. They said, but Lord, he's been dead 3 days. He stinks. You see, even in their grief, even in their misunderstanding or their non-understanding, they actually began to obey Jesus. And so the stone was rolled away. They trusted enough to obey the instructions of Jesus. They gave him access to the death, access to their grief, access to their sorrow. Now, I've only been able to skim over the surface today within the short time that we have. But my thought for the day today that I would like to leave you with is simply this. There is nothing so dead, nothing so wretched, nothing so decayed, nothing so stinking about our past life, about our failures, about our disappointments, that Jesus cannot bring to resurrection life if we allow him access. We just need to trust him, obey his words, and roll away the blockage and give him full access to our if-onlys. Remember, we started today when I said the decisions I make today about my yesterdays will determine my tomorrows. Mary and Martha made a decision to trust and obey Jesus in the reality of their today that made a great impact upon their tomorrows. So may we all live in that same reality, which is so well expressed in the chorus of an old hymn. I won't sing it, but it goes like this: trust and obey. There is no other way to be happy in Jesus but to trust and obey. Don't live in your if-onlys. Live in the present reality of the power of Jesus to transform your life so that your destiny is better, far better, and far exceeds your history. God bless you.